Hey, Gluten Free Badass, I am so glad you're here today. Even though it's Wickedly Wholesome Wednesday, I sort of feel like I need a glass of wine Friday. It's been a long week so far. How about you? All right, so we're gonna make our week so much better. We are going to overcome two giant obstacles in the gluten-free world. One, we are gonna make a pastry cream, which usually has wheat flour in it. And we are going to use our wonderful special ingredient, sticky white rice flour, to make the pastry cream that we all know and love. And you think, well, what is pastry cream? It's usually that wonderful, almost pudding-like filling inside of an eclair, and also in usually tarts, and we're gonna put it in our pie today. The other thing that we're gonna overcome is this idea that pastry cream is just way too fancy to make in our own kitchen. Actually, this recipe is so easy. It's got 4 ingredients, and it really only takes about 7 minutes to cook on the stove. So it's gonna be delicious and wonderful, and I'm gonna be excited to hear what are the different ways that you use this new gluten-free pastry cream. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're actually going to make our pie crust. And you may remember last week, and if you didn't watch last week, you should go on the YouTube channel, the Wickedly Wholesome YouTube channel, and see our double chocolate cookie dough. Because not only do we use it for cookies, we also use it for pie crust as well. Okay, so let's come over here and let's take a look. We're gonna take a look right here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our cookie dough, and we're just taking maybe about 1/4 of the recipe, and quite frankly, we're not gonna put the chocolate chips in. We're actually gonna do something really special with the chocolate chips later. And just so you know, I mean, you know this from your own cooking experience, right? Cookie dough spreads. So we don't want to put like this big layer over the bottom. We want to put like little dollops, little happy drops of cookie dough in here. And we're going to put it right in the oven. So 350 degrees. And we're going to put that in there. And Catherine, I am going to ask you to ask Siri or to set an alarm for 10 minutes. Would you do that, please? Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. All right, so let's make that pastry cream, shall we? Okay, so we have really important ingredients here. 1, granulated sugar. 2, sticky white rice flour. We're gonna pour those in. And you may think when you go to the grocery store, you're gonna see 2 different kinds of white rice flour. You're gonna see plain white rice flour. You do not want that. It has many wonderful applications, but not in a pastry cream because it's not starchy enough. And what we need is the sticky white rice flour that has lots of starch in it. And it almost kind of acts like a cornstarch. It sort of acts like a wheat flour, but it doesn't have all that icky gluten. And it is so much better than xanthan gum, because as we know, xanthan gum is a laxative. And who needs that in their food? Not me, not you. All right, so we've stirred this up, we whisked it up, and I am gonna say a whisk is super important because you really need to keep everything moving, and what will happen if you're just using a regular spoon, because I tried it, is you're just gonna get clumps. We don't need clumps. In fact, it's the opposite of pastry cream. You're also gonna wanna put in just your egg yolks. So you're gonna separate those. We don't want we don't want our egg whites, all right? And we're gonna pour that in, and we're gonna put that all in, yay. And we're gonna stir that up. So if you want to even take a closer look at this, and just so you know, I've put the heat on high right now, okay? And we're gonna put in our milk, a little bit of milk, and we're just gonna put some, and we're gonna stir that in. All right, and we're gonna stir that up, and we're gonna put the rest in now. And actually, I'm gonna go get another cup of milk because this only holds 2 cups, and we actually need 3. Now what I'm doing is I'm putting the heat on high to begin with, but eventually we're going to turn that down very low. But we want to get some of that heat going for us. But basically through this whole thing, we just want to simmer. If we have more than a simmer, it's going to burn. And who really wants burnt pastry cream? No good at all. So we are going to stir that up. And as soon as it becomes a simmer, we're actually going to time it for 5 minutes and let it cook a little bit, because starches need heat in order to activate and to thicken. All right, so we're going to leave this right here, And I am going to ask my most fabulous assistant, Catherine, to come assist with these next aspects of the recipe. So, Susan Kelly, how are you? How is life? We are glad that you are here, and I agree with you. Pastry cream is very amazing, and we're so glad that you're here with us today. Thank you. All right, so Catherine, we need to make the raspberry swirl. So what Catherine's going to take are these just defrosted raspberries, and so we're just taking almost like half a package of you want to dump those in? We're gonna of frozen raspberries, and usually that's about a 12-ounce package. So this is about 5 to 6 ounces.
Go.
Can you get that? You want to use your finger? It's okay. Can you get that?
I don't know if I can hold it.
Okay. How about that one up there? Okay, awesome. Well done. You can lick your fingers. And we're going to find the top still in the drainer. And if I hold that, would you be so kind as to press one of the blender buttons? All right. All right, so all you have to do is blend it. We're not adding any extra sugar because we actually want the tartness from the raspberries to help balance all the sweetness of the pastry cream. And you watch this for a moment. Make sure it doesn't run away on us. I am just going to stir here. All right, so take a look here. You can see it's still pretty liquidy, and we're just stirring it just to make sure that like all that starch doesn't settle to the bottom and become like a swamp. What we want is, creaminess all over, no swamp. All right, so what we're gonna do now, and this is sort of almost strainer day at Wickedly Wholesome today. We have a couple of things that need to be strained. The first thing is we need the raspberries to be strained, and we're going to pour those in. And what we're trying to strain out right now are the seeds. Nobody wants to chew on a bunch of seeds when they are eating a delectable cream pie, because then it kind of becomes a seed cream pie. And this actually takes a little while, so we're just going to let it sit there very happily, and it's eventually going to come through, and we're going to get a very nice set of just nice raspberry swirl right there is what we're eventually going to go for. All right, so let's see this one. Yep, can you put that back? We're going to move this. Unless, would you like a taste?
Yeah.
Yes, so this is cookie dough. Cookie dough is always worth eating. Good job, sweetheart. Let's check back on our cream. All right. So we're just, can you see some of the steam starting to come up? We're just getting to that magic point where it's going to start simmering. And simmering, with just a little light, light bubbles on it, which will be wonderful. Catherine, where are we in terms of our cookie timer? Do you know?
Let me go check.
I'm going to check. I'm going to even look here for a moment. Ooh, almost done, but not quite. You want to look in? All right, so you can see that. Can you see how the cookie dough has totally started to make friends with each other? So it's perfect, exactly the way it should be. We just need it to bake a little bit more, I can tell.
4 minutes.
4 minutes, this is perfect. All right, so, chocolate chip thief again, very nice. Oh, I'm starting to hear a simmer. Come. Okay. So here's the key. So can you see this? It's at that total wonderful point where it's just starting to simmer. And what we're going to do is we're going to turn the heat to low, and quite frankly, we're going to move it off the heat for a moment and start stirring it. And we're going to let it go for about 5 minutes, and we're going to occasionally come back and stir it. But here's the thing, and we're going to use strength-based language here. It gets really excited when it gets all heated up, and it's going to start sometimes shooting, it's going to be bubbling, and sometimes little bits of, cream is going to come flying out. We don't want that. So use your mitt, stir it, and if it starts to bubble too much, we just move it off. But at the moment, it's looking pretty happy. Just that perfect balance. Okay, so let's let that sit there. Ooh, okay. I'm going to move it off just a little bit. All right. So let's take a look over here. Catherine's got us going with our raspberries.
We got a little bit.
So what I'm going to have you do, sweetie, is I'm actually going to have you keep that down there. I'm going to have you stir it because that helps to get some of the, let's get this out of the way. Would you stir it? Because that's going to help push through some of the liquid, because those seeds can be very obstinate, and they might not want to let all that sauce come through. Yeah, you're doing great. All right, so let's take a look here. All right, so this is doing great. So if you'll take a look over here as well, we've actually put some vanilla because the cream is going to taste, we want it to be vanilla cream, so we've put some cream in there, and we're also going to strain it. Now, an interesting difference here is I just told Catherine to stir the raspberry sauce to kind of work it through the sieve. We actually don't want to do that with our cream. If you can take a really close look, you might be able to see with all that steam, there's actually some lumps in there, and that's normal and that's okay. What that is the egg, oh hello, is that the eggs do sometimes cook up a little bit. Can you get that? All right, let me just get this in here. And so we're gonna put all in there, and what we're straining out are those little bits of egg that actually started to cook a little bit outside of the milk. Totally normal, totally okay, but we certainly don't want to eat them. So instead of stirring it, you're occasionally just going to tap when you need to, and all of that wonderful goodness. Yeah, take a look at the bottom. Oop, look at that. As long as I'm not, I know I spilled it. That happens. Say lovey. Okay, so we're now going to take out our, I'm going to turn off the oven. We're going to take out our cookie dough crust, okay? And look at that. Oh, chocolatey, delicious goodness. All right. So there's two key steps here. The reason we didn't put the chocolate chips in is because we actually want a barrier between.
Oh, there's my
Oh,
alarm.
perfect. We timed that well. Good job. We're going to put a barrier between the pie crust and the custard, right? Because the custard might make it a little gummy, but we're going to put a layer of chocolate chips in there that help protect it and add actually a little bit of crunch, which will be wonderful. But the first thing is when it comes out of the oven, just push up the sides a little bit, right? So it actually is a pie crust instead of just a slab of cookie dough. So we're going to push that up just a little bit. We just use it's pretty hot, so I think you should let me do it. And then we're going to push these other parts down, and it's going to be so happy. All right, can you pour a bunch of those chocolate chips on? I don't think we're going to need all of them, but put enough that covers the whole bottom, will you, without touching the pan, okay? Deborah, nice to have you here. I wasn't sure you were going to be able to make it tonight. Thank you. We agree. The teamwork is very good. I'm very lucky. And also, you may know, it's Andrew, my son, who is the cameraman. Actually, put the rest on. I think we might need all those. And hi, Sarah. How are you? Sarah, what kind of pies, gluten-free pies, do you like to make at home? Since you are truly a gluten-free goddess. All right. So we are going.
Fine.
Yep. So what's going to happen here, and we'll show you in a little bit, is they're actually going to melt. And we're going to spread and put that layer, and then we're going to put it in the fridge for a little bit to cool.
They're already melted.
I know. Isn't that wonderful? So we still want that double chocolate, but we're going to get it through that little bit of a barrier. The other thing I want to say, and this is totally your preference, is if you just want the prettiness of the raspberries, then we're going to show you how to make that design on top. And you really won't taste the raspberries that much in the pie. But if you really want that raspberry flavor, once you melt your chocolate chips, you let it harden in the refrigerator, we're actually going to put some raspberry sauce on top of that. So, we just have all these layers of delectable goodness. All right, so let's do this. Let's pretend, let's use this. We are going to move this over for just a moment, okay? Let that rest. So here we have a pie crust with all the chocolate already melted and already in the refrigerator, nice and hardened. Oh, honestly, you could eat it just like this. If you had a can of Ready Whip, it would be fantastic. Thank you. Now, would you do me a favor and take that raspberry sauce and pour it on here?
Just a drizzle?
No, just pour that puppy right in. Because I want that balance. I want the acidic and the tastiness of the raspberry, and I would love to have it. Yeah. So I'm gonna spread this out, and let's make sure, you know what? Let's make sure everyone can see. So if you wouldn't mind backing up just a tiny bit. So we're gonna spread that around. Look at that. I mean, raspberry and chocolate are such an amazing. Oh my gosh, Sarah, I love your comment that what the best pies are the ones that other people make for you. I'm so glad this one looks amazing. I hope you do try it. And then a pecan pie, what kind of crust did you use? How did you do that? I'm very curious. All right, so then next comes, let's see if we get the right spoon here. We have our pastry cream, okay? So if you want to pop over here, it's, it drains its way out. We mix it with the vanilla. We put it in the refrigerator, and then we have this now beautiful, wonderful French pastry cream. That was easy. Oh, Catherine, you're doing such a good job there.
I think it's almost done.
Would you show, look at all those seeds that are still sitting there and how they've been rescued, and we don't have to now put them in our beautiful sauce. And I'll show everyone the sauce, will you?
Sauce underneath.
Yeah.
That looks good.
Doesn't it? Thank you, Andrew. All right, buddy, so come here and take a look, will you, everybody? So we're gonna put our pastry cream in right now. And I have to tell you, I ate a whole slice of this earlier today with our test pie, because really, it's just like the most.
Can I spread it?
Yeah, it is the most amazing. It's like eating a giant chocolate eclair with a touch of raspberry, and it's all on overdrive. Actually, you know what? Do you mind? I'm gonna do just. I know. But I'm
That's so satisfying.
Doesn't it? I agree. All right. Now, I like my pies to look pretty. So what we are going to do is you're going to take some of that sauce that you just made. You're going to put it in a plastic bag, okay? And we are going to snip. Oh, can you get a butter knife? I forgot to put one out. Thank you. So we're just cutting off a little bit of a tip.
Wait, a butter knife or a butter knife?
That's a very good question. We want one of those butter knives. Well done with your silverware etiquette. All right, so this is where. Oh,
whoa, easy.
All right, so we're gonna make stripes here, okay? And one stripe. Oh, there we go. A second stripe. Yay! All right, and when you do a minute, I am managing stripes, which I can tell you is a bit of a full-time job.
I'm sure.
All right, so hold on. Come on, little friend. You can come out. There we go. Okay. Oh, you're hilarious, Sarah, about your cheater alert. No worries. I really believe in the concept of semi-homemade, because we are busy gluten free badasses and mothers. So then we just take a little knife. And actually what I like to do is just scrape off that knife in between.
Can I do it?
Yeah, would you just pull down, like we've seen on Cake Boss.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Catherine loves Cake Boss.
Yes, I do.
There you go. And we can see that. So we're going to wipe that off. Now make another one. Ooh, I think that's perfect.
Look at that.
Look at that.
Can I do one more?
No.
Oh.
You think one more is needed?
This is fine.
Okay, do one more. Why not? It's our pie. You know what? You were right. That is better. Okay.
I almost want to lick that, but I gotta use it later.
Nice. Good job.
Awesome.
Okay. You have a pie that's ready. You can stick it in the refrigerator, for an hour or two. Pastry cream tastes best the same day. So I would recommend that this is something that you can put all the parts together the day before. But if it's a party or you just really are in the mood for a pie on a Saturday afternoon, you have it. So I'm going to take a bite. All right. Done. Nice. Yeah, look at that. I mean, really, it's almost like a seed, I don't know what you would call
Extravaganza.
it. Extravaganza. And then the rest of it looks beautiful.
And then use that.
There you go. All right, so let's take a cut of this. Now, I will be honest with you. This is a pie where it is going to, ooze a little bit. But I have to say,
that's awesome.
It is. It's kind of like when you have the gravy in a stew and you dunk your bread into it and you're like, oh, this is so good. It is the same thing with this pie. you are going to take your crust and you are gonna dip it and swirl it inside of your, your pie cream. Oh my gosh, I need a fork for this. Yes, let me give you a bite and then I will take a bite. Are you ready?
Yes.
Let's face everyone. All right, so here we are. We have the double chocolate crust with raspberries and pastry cream. What do you think? Why don't you?
That was awesome.
The raspberry really shines through, but the chocolate and the pastry cream, you can feel like, you can just taste all of it. It really is this like trifecta, extravaganza, to use Catherine's word, all together. I think each of them on their own are good, but when you put them all together, they truly blow your mind. Okay, so the recipe for this is going to be on the website, wickedlywholesome.com this evening. If you have any questions as you're making it, let me know. Or afterwards, if it goes well, post it. If it doesn't go well, let's problem solve it together. You can always reach me at maureen@wickedlywholesome.com. And let me just double check our accounts. Okay, I think we are so glad that you joined us. Catherine is so glad that she was a part of this. And we will be so excited to see you next week. All right, take care, keep being you, and never, ever compromise on that.